So I'm now going to be finding square roots, and how I'm going to do that is that I'm going to see, okay, if I can take the square root of 81. So I can know that that is actually a perfect square value, so I know that that's going to give me 9. I can look at the list that I referred to, or another way to do it is that you can hit second, that x squared button, and then type in 81. You hit enter, you get 9. Now with this one, you have to remember that it's -1 times the square root of 169. Okay, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna say to myself, okay, is 169 a perfect square value? I can refer to my chart. If I don't know, I'm gonna hit second, x squared, 169. I get 13. So that means I'm gonna do -1 times 13. So that means that the square root of 169 is a perfect square value because it gives you this whole number of 13. My final answer is going to be -13 because I had that negative on the outside, which is that -1. Okay, with this one, I have 4 times the square root of 36. So if I know that 36 is a perfect square, I would take the perfect square, which is 6. If I don't know, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit second, x squared, and I type in 36, and I get 6. So I have, this would be 4 times 6, so that's going to give me a positive 24. Now with these types, what we're going to do first is see if we can simplify 9/16. 9 and 16 do not have anything in common, so what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to take the square root of 9 over, I'm going to take the square root of 16. So the square root of 9 is going to be 3. I could use my calculator if I didn't know that was a perfect square value. Basically, just think about 3 times 3 does equal 9, so I'm good. And then square root of 16 is 4. So my final answer is 3/4. Okay. My next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can simplify 125 divided by 5. When I do that, I'm going to get the square root of 25 because 125 divided by 5 is 25. I'm then going to take the square root of 25, which is 5. So my final answer is 5. This one, I have to remember I have this negative on the outside. 32 divided by 2 can be simplified. So I'm going to be left with negative square root of 16. I know the square root of 16 is 4, so this is going to be -1 times 4, which is going to give me -4. I'm now going to evaluate the expressions. So I'm going to try to simplify the square roots if I can first, and then simplify from there. So I have 5, the square root of 36 is 6, so 5 times 6 plus 7. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 7. That is going to give me 37 is my answer. Okay, this next one. I'm going to take 1/4 plus the square root of 18 over 2. I can simplify to the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is a perfect square value, so I take the square root of 9. I get 1/4 plus 3. So that would be left with 3 1/4. Or you could say 3.25. Or you could say 13/4. Either one of those answers I would accept because those are all giving me the value of 3.25. Now, with this one, what's going to happen is that I'm going to take the square root of 81, so that's 9. And I have squared minus 5. 9 squared is 81 minus 5. 81 minus 5 is going to, you're going to notice that when I took the square root, okay, if you have this and you have a square root, it actually just cancels out the square root and the squared symbol. So you're left with that number on the inside. That's something that you're going to have to pay attention to. So that's why I really got the square root. Like the inverse operation of getting rid of a squared value is taking the squared of number of it. So something to consider. And then to finalize my answer, I'm going to get 76.